This Tesla's Bioweapon Defense Mode is more than just a gimmick, but it really only works if your HEPA filters are clean. If it's been more than 2 years or you're noticing any musty smells, it's probably time to swap it out. In this video, I want to walk you through a simple Tesla HEPA filter replacement so you don't have to visit the service center and pay them to do it. I also want to walk you through how to change the internal cabin air filters that are separate from the HEPA filters. Before we get started on this project, I want to let you know what we're working on. This is a 2024 Tesla Model Y. This is the dual motor setup, high performance setup on here. Not every car's got a HEPA filtration system in it, and certainly not every Tesla has the Bioweapon Defense Mode built into it. So I wanted to talk about those two things for a second. The HEPA filter is just a high efficiency particulate air filter. It's designed to filter the air down to as low as 0.3 microns. It's removing all kinds of bacteria, claims to be able to remove some kind of mold and contaminants and biochemical hazards to some degree. So they've got this system designed also, this Bioweapon Defense Mode, so that it'll actually pressurize the interior of the cabin to keep any air from seeping into the cabin. So this particular car owner was telling me a story of how this vehicle activated the Bioweapon Defense Mode all by itself. We were having some wildfires in California that were bleeding over, the fumes and the smoke were bleeding over into our area in Las Vegas. And this car activated this defense mode all by itself. Went ahead and the fan started blowing hard. It was pressurizing the interior of the cabin. The HEPA filters were doing their job, and you couldn't smell any smoke or anything inside the cabin, even though everywhere outside of the vehicle was pretty smoky. So the system does work. I don't know how well it works. Heck, the claim from Tesla here is that it is going to protect you from all kinds of bacteria and some biochemical hazards. Before we get started, I'm on the interior of the vehicle. I want to show you how you can activate this Bioweapon Defense Mode that Tesla has. Okay, to activate Bioweapon Defense Mode, we're going to select the temperature to bring up the climate controls on it. As we scroll through, you'll look here at this radioactive looking symbol. Once we click this, it's going to put it in recirculate mode. It's going to start to activate the HEPA filters, and then you can start to hear the fans really ramp up in here. You know, it's really starting to force some air in the cabin. It's going into high filtration mode. It's supposed to be sealing up the car and pressurizing the cabin so that exterior air can't seep in. Now, this is a great tool to use, not just in a smoky environment like I mentioned earlier in the video, but this will be great if you're traveling through Texas maybe, and you're in the cow pastures out there and you're smelling a lot of funky stuff. I might activate this mode then. Pretty much anytime you feel like you're smelling something or you're not getting the freshest air possible, be a good time to activate this defense mode in this Tesla. The first step in replacing these filters is to get access under the frunk here. So pop your hood and get in there. We need to remove this entire panel under here. This is where the HEPA filters sit. There are a bunch of clips around the perimeter here that need to be unsnapped, and you can usually just get them by pulling up in here. They take a little bit of effort, but pull up on them a little bit and see if you can get them to release. You'll have to kind of go around the perimeter a little bit, popping these as you go. There we go. And just work your way around the other side until you've got all the clips around the perimeter released. And then your cover is loose. Now that we've got that entire cover out of the way, we've got access to the entire air filter box for the set of HEPA filters in there. There's actually 4 of them total inside this box. We'll need to remove a few screws in order to remove the box, and then we can separate the box once we get it out. Over here on this side, there'll be a 10mm screw, same thing on the other side. So I've just got my little cordless tool out with the 10mm socket. Hopefully make some light work of pulling these bolts out. One on the other side. We've got the 2 bolts out on either side of this HEPA filter box. I'm going to go ahead and pull this clip out of the washer fluid reservoir. This way we give ourselves a little bit of room on this box. There's a couple of little flat spots in here. If you can get underneath it, you can pull that clip. And then give us just a little bit of room right here. All right, if you're going to leave this entire frunk assembly in here, you're going to have to rotate this up on the back side to clear the master cylinder. This way you've got some room to pull this up and out. If you look under here, you can see you've got access to the jump start port. This will help you jump start the 12-volt battery. While we've got this HEPA box out, I wanted to show you that jump start terminal, and I also wanted to show you this item right here. This is the emergency responder loop. They'll use this, they'll cut this in the event that you have some kind of accident in your vehicle, and this is going to cut all the high voltage power coming out of the high voltage battery. So all the high voltage wires and stuff will no longer be active once they cut this loop. There's also a disconnect on it here if you wanted to just take the time to unplug it. This makes it quick and easy for first responders. That's why they've got this label on here. Underneath this HEPA filter box, there are some components that you can access, with limited access of course, but some of the air conditioning components, there's a cooling system in here. The top of the front electric drive motor is in here. So there are access to components that you'll need at some point if they need service. And I also wanted to mention here that there is no lead acid battery in this car. This vehicle, this 2024 model, has a lithium ion battery. If it had a lead acid battery, it would be underneath that HEPA filter box, and it would be something that you could service a couple of battery terminals connected to it if you needed to jump start or if you needed to replace the battery even. This one, all you've got is that jump port that I showed you earlier. Before I crack this box open, I just want to show you there's air duct right here, and then underneath you can see the return air that goes into the car. It's sealed up pretty good with this rubber seal on here. Be careful you don't do any damage to that. We're going to flip it back over, and then there's a rash of bolts here that we need to remove. I think looks like there's 10 of them all together using the Torx T20, and we can go ahead and zip all these out. This way we can access that filter. Okay, so now we've got all those bolts out. Pull this cover off. And here's our HEPA filters underneath. There's one charcoal activated carbon filter. And then there'll be another one underneath, a secondary filter. These filters are required to be replaced every 2 to 3 years. This vehicle doesn't have that age on it yet, and you can see they look like they're in fairly good condition. And we're just taking this apart for demonstration purposes. I'm not putting new filters in this car yet. It's too new with only 12,000 miles, but I wanted to be able to give you a full demonstration on how that works. Okay, make sure you put your filters back in the correct way. Okay, make sure they've got a nice fitment in the box. Then you can put this filter on top. I do see a very small amount of debris starting to accumulate in the top of these carbon filters, but maybe in another year or so this one will be ready for new filters. We're just going to reverse the process. Put our cover back in place, lining up your bolt holes. Make sure it sits flush, and then you can get all your screws in place. And then just go ahead and snug these down. Probably work my way from the middle out to the outside. Don't over tighten these, they just tighten into the plastic housing. You don't want to destroy the box at all trying to tighten the bolts up. It looks like we've got all 10 of these tightened down now. We're ready to reverse the procedure, put this back in. All right, we're just going to try to tuck the front end of this back in. Make sure you got your loop out of the way. Line up your bolt holes again. And then we're ready to tighten down the 2 corners with our 10mm bolts. Make sure you start these bolts by hand. Okay. And you can put your clip back in the washer bottle. Before I reinstall this cover, I want to show you all the clips that are here. You want to make sure that these are all in place. I did notice on here there's one missing, and over here there's one missing. So somewhere along the lines this has been apart and somebody lost the clips on it. But make sure you check that before you put it back together. If you have new clips, put them in place. All right, you can see how straightforward that was. Now that we've got the final cover back in place, we'll go ahead and lower this hood for the frunk. And I want to get inside the vehicle and show you how those interior cabin air filters are removed and replaced. So we're working over here in the passenger side of the vehicle. We've got to get access to underneath the dashboard. We've got to get access to the side cover that's on the center console. So you want to go ahead and remove whatever floor mats you have in here. Should make it a little bit easier. And now we've got full access underneath. We're going to be removing the kick plate right below the glove box. Let's show you how to do that. So we need to remove all of these clips here that are around the perimeter so we can remove this piece of plastic here. This kick panel is going to have to come down. So these have these little center pins that you pull down on, and if you get lucky, the whole clip will come with it. Let's see, there we go. Pull another one down. Okay, another one over here. All right, so 2 out of 4 is not bad. And we can get in here and pop this cover off. Take our clips back out. And once we let this down, we'll have to disconnect some connectors on here. Okay, once you've got your kick panel down, you'll need to disconnect this light assembly right here. There's a little push tab on here. I'm using a flat blade screwdriver. Just push that down and then pop it out. Okay, and then we got one more on this little speaker right here. There is no push tab on here. Just grab it at the base, out on the wires, and then you can pull that out as well. Okay, I'll remove this panel out of the way. All right, now that we've got all that stuff out of the way, we're going to go ahead and try to remove this side cover on the center console. There's clips all around it. So we're going to be using a panel tool like this one to release all the clips around the perimeter. This is going to allow me to get in behind the panel and release some of these tabs. They're in here really tight. So I want to go next to each one as soon as you feel it get tight, and then you can give it a pull. Okay? And I can tell you that some of these are really tight. You want to get in near the clip so you don't break the cover, and give it a good pull, okay? Until you've got them all free around the perimeter. Got one more here. Okay, there it is. I want to show you the inside of the cover, and I want to show you these clips, and here's a good example of what you might see here. We've got all these white pieces on here. These are the actual clips that hold everything in place, okay? And then you can see there's a couple that are still missing. They're stuck inside the holes. You want to squeeze that and remove it, and then put them back in place where they belong, okay? You're going to need those to hold this cover securely in place. All right, now that we've got that interior panel on the side of the center console removed, I'm going to get in here close, and I want to show you where this cabin air filter set resides. It's in this box over here. I'm going to get nice and close for you so you can see this panel, and this is the screw we're going to have to remove. We're going to take a 6mm, remove this screw. And we can take the cover off. Okay. And then inside here, you're going to see a set of air filters. They have these little tabs on here, and you'll need to pull this tab. There's a set of 2 filters in here, so one sits on top of the other. So we'll take the tab and we're going to pull that. And you see how it's coming out now? Make sure you keep your orientation so you remember how you took it out. And then we're going to go ahead and get the second one out. That's why they've got this tab on here. This goes in here, and then it drops down. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to lift it, slide it up so it lines up with the hole, and then you can slide it out. I hope that makes sense to you. Keep in mind the direction of rotation here on the filter, okay? So the way we pulled that out was like this. So that's going to be facing, arrow facing towards the back of the car, the rear of the vehicle. And then you'll just take your new set, and you're going to reinstall the same way. Take your new set, put it in the hole here. Make sure your arrow is facing towards the rear of the car, and you want to drop this corner down first. So this slides all the way down. Make sure this tab is out. You'll need to access that. We don't want to tuck it in on top. We want the other filter to sit in there first. And then we're going to take this other filter, and we're going to stack it on top of that one. You need to kind of get in there straight, slide it in. Same thing, arrow facing towards the back of the car. And you can flip that up, flip the other one down, and we're ready to put this cover back on. And this cover has got a little tab in here. You want to just make sure that it hooks in the right spot before you set it down here. Okay, so the top is kind of locked in that tab at the top, and then the bottom's going to be held in by that 6mm screw head. Okay, and you can run that in gently. Nice and easy. You don't want to over tighten that. And then we're just going to put the large panel back on the center of the console. All right, again, make sure all of your clips are in place and we removed them from inside of the car if they got stuck in there. And then we're just going to go ahead and work our way around to place this in place. Make sure everything's lined up. And they should start to pop into place. The next step, we're going to take these 4 clips and reassemble them. You want to make sure that the rods that go in the center of the clips are back installed. So clip them in place if they came out. They can be a little tricky to get in if you're trying to do it up under the panel. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble these now so they look like this. And then we can plug our electrical connectors back in. We've got a fan here. Or a speaker, I should say. I don't know. I think that's a speaker. And then we're going to plug our light back in. Now it's important you note too, there's a tab here. This tab goes in the top of the carpet. Well, there's a slot for that. So make sure that gets in there. Tuck your wires up on top. Then you can put this back in place where it belongs. Once you've got that clipped up in place, you can go ahead and install the 4 clips in the holes they go in. And push the center back in with the clip in. Push the center back up. And put the clip in. Push the center up. And then the last one. All right, the last thing we're going to do is just reinstall our floor mats where they belong. Last step you should probably do, just hop in the car and operate the air in here, get the fan blowing, make sure that there's no noises or anything. Sometimes if something drops down, could get caught up in the swirl cage, the blower motor. So just operate your fan speeds on it, make sure everything's working like it's supposed to be, and you should be all set. I hope this video is helpful for you. This is not a terribly difficult job, although I can tell you, like on this car, we've got a fairly new car with 12,000 miles on it. These panels are very tight. They've never been off before. That's why we use that plastic tool. It might take a little bit of extra work to release those clips the first time you ever take it apart. So just be patient with that and make sure you can get in behind it. You don't want to break that panel at all. You want to make sure you're pulling directly behind the clip where the clips are inside the brackets. Other than that, you should be in good shape. You got yourself a brand new set of HEPA filters and also a brand new set of interior cabin air filters. This should keep you breathing well for the next couple of years. If you guys are enjoying this type of content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got plenty more Tesla content coming for you here in the future. As a matter of fact, you can check out another video up here in the corner, and we'll see you in the next one.